Welcome back, listeners, to our biggest episode of the Groupup podcast yet. I'm your host, OzDragon, and joining me today is a young entrepreneur from Tasmania, Australia. The man who started custom creator gear. It's Domotius. But that's not all. We are also joined by special guests later on in the podcast, so stay tuned. It's time to listen in as we get to know more about Domotius and custom creator gear. Episode 10 is about to begin. Welcome, everybody, to episode 10 of the Groupup podcast. My name is OzDragon, and joining me today is Domotius. How are you doing, Domo?
Oz, I am well. Thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute pleasure to be here.
No, I really do appreciate you coming in and doing this for us. It's been quite a while since we've done a podcast, a few months. So I really do appreciate you being on the 10th episode, which is a pretty big milestone for the Groupup podcast. So yeah, we got a few things to get through today, and we might have some special guests joining us later on. Fingers crossed. They're just having some technical difficulties at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see what comes along. So we may as well jump right into it with getting to know you a little bit better.
The name, damn. The name itself, so originally Domotius was created from a random name generator, and one of them that came up was a Roman, a Roman name of Domotius, which means he who has been tamed or to be tamed or something like that. And I thought, okay, that's got a pretty cool meaning behind it. It looks pretty cool. I punched it into, I think Twitch was the first account that I signed up with it, and I put an O instead of an I, so it was Domotius instead of Domotius.
Oh.
And I hit next and then realized I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Now you're stuck with it.
Yeah, because no one else has made that mistake when typing that name in. All my social accounts are the same name, which makes it easy. So,
yep.
There we go. And now I've, of course, just shortened it to Domo because no one seems to be able to pronounce Domotius correctly. So, Domo's sort of the handle that I mostly go by now. Yeah,
no, that's a pretty interesting little story that you got there. So pretty much just a little bit of a spelling mistake, and that's where your name came from, really.
Yep.
No, that's pretty cool. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself? Like, what kind of hobbies or interests do you have? Like, what are your future goals in, say, like the next couple of years?
For sure, yeah. Well, as most people already know, I'm from Tasmania. Actually, Oz, we live fairly close to one another. Well, I'm in an hour away, but fortunately. Yeah. But yeah, from Tasmania, born and bred here, so I've sort of been in Tassie my whole life. On my digital life, I have been a streamer since about 2012, on and off there very rarely. Was part of Twitch Tasmania for a while, helping Tam and a few people run that. Other than that, I'm part of a heap of different online communities, anywhere from Groupup to moderating a whole heap of Twitch channels. So you've probably seen me around before. I'm in quite a lot of different chats and everything like that. So
yep, and also handing out your merch every chance that you get at PAX Australia.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So a lot of people know me for the Domo hat, of course, and for my merch as well. So and I think that's something we're going to have a chat about later. The whole custom creator gear and merch side of me as well. So
yep. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, like everyone, I love a bit of a video game. Getting back into Minecraft recently with a whole heap of mates, which has been fun.
Hell yeah.
But of any sort of first-person shooter is always up my alley as well. So,
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I can definitely agree there that Minecraft is one of those games that you get away from it, and then it just slowly drags you back in. It's like, there's a new update like I noticed that they brought in a new cave system or something, which I haven't played yet, but it looks pretty cool. But yeah, definitely like draws you back in, and once you get like everybody else keen, it's just like there's no stopping for like at least a few months.
That's it, yeah. I find it sort of spikes. It's one person will play, and then suddenly there's 30 all people on a server, and then it's absolutely pumping for 3-4 months, and then we'll sort of leave it for 12 months, and the whole cycle sort of continues there.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. I to be honest, I actually kind of wanted to get back into Minecraft, but I've been too busy with some other games recently. But yeah. So what about like your future plans and stuff? Do you have anything that like any goals that you've set yourself, or is it just like go along with the flow at the moment?
I think this year has sort of thrown a few curveballs for all of us. There was definitely some solid plans at the start of the year. I was keen to be involved on my own sort of Twitch channel a lot more. Ideally was going to be streaming, 5-6 times a week, and then pushing more into that sort of realm of digital like content creation. A few other things, both pros and cons, came up this year that I'm sort of just coasting at the moment, seeing where the next sort of opportunity lies. There's been some good growth in starting my own sort of business, helping out with a lot of other creators as well. But at the moment, I think I'm sort of just happy, just trying to get a bit more settled with everything now that's sort of been going on this year, and then sort of restart for next year and focus on some big long-term goals there.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, 2020 has been just one of those years that we really didn't expect to come along,
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, like you said, it's just thrown a massive curveball in like everybody's plans. So yeah, I can definitely understand that, and yeah, hopefully next year's a little bit better for you, and you can reach those goals that you decide to put in plan. But yeah, like apart from like gaming and like being like on that online and Twitch and stuff, what other like interests and hobbies and stuff do you have? I know that you into a bit of photography.
Yeah, for sure. So outside of the digital realm, I work retail as a profession there, retail sales. Outside of work, yeah, definitely into still that content creation sort of mindset. Definitely a bit of photography, graphic design. I dabbled in there for a bit there.
Nice.
I suppose rolling back into the 2020 sort of dilemmas that we've had, it has been a sort of a little bit harder to leave, adventure out a bit more and things like that, and finding a bit more time there. But it's something that I'm definitely keen to get into again next year. Take up photography again, and even take inspiration from some of your sort of adventures that you've had lately, where traveling to bits of Tasmania that I've lived here my whole life, but I've seen some places you've gone to and gone, I have no idea where that is, kind of thing. So
yeah, that's kind of what my own personal goal was for 2020. Is that when it first started, I was like, well, at the moment I have no commitments. I do want to like travel overseas and stuff, but I was like, don't have the money, don't have a job for that at the moment, so why don't I just travel around Tasmania and experience my own back garden first? So yeah, that's where I was just like asking everybody that I knew, like, where should I go, what should I do? And yeah, it's just been a great like a little adventure so far, so I can definitely recommend that to you. And yeah, good luck on your journeys with your photography and stuff, because yeah, it's a really good experience just getting out and being around nature and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Most important things I've learnt in life. That is thrown right into the deep end of questions.
Yep.
One of the most is probably one of the most important thing that I've sort of learnt and been paying attention more consciously to the last couple of years is a quote by a lieutenant that was giving a speech a couple of years ago over in America. And the quote was, "The standard you walk past is the standard you accept." And I've sort of been trying to have that in the back of my mind as I'm walking along in life, just thinking if I'm looking at something and I choose to ignore it, then that's something that I'm subconsciously okay with. So whether that's a literal sense of I'm walking into work and there's a whole heap of rubbish that someone's left out the front of the shop, if I just walk past it, that's the standard I'm setting for myself, is that I'm okay with just leaving this mess here.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm sort of having that in the back of my mind of a lot more things recently, going, look, if I have all of this stuff in front of me and I'm choosing to walk past or ignore it, then that's something that subconsciously I'm okay with, which sort of puts it into perspective of, if I am ignoring stuff, well, why am I doing that? Is it really not that important to me? Should I have taken on that job or that task in the first place? Should I be ignoring it? Things like that. So
Yeah,
it's sort of taken a backseat on a lot of things in my life there, which has brought some good results out of that, actually.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, that was pretty deep. I wasn't expecting such a deep response, but yeah, no, that's definitely something to think about, and I think yeah, definitely listeners could definitely probably take something out of that. Yeah, far out.
I mean, you ask deep questions, you get deep answers.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, come on.
Talking to Domo after all. Yeah, no. Yeah, thanks for that. That's definitely something that I'll be thinking about after this podcast. Yeah, definitely striving to take on those certain challenges, or taking on that job or interview, such and such kind of thing, I suppose. But yeah, no, that's awesome. So you kind of mentioned in 2012 that was when you kind of started your Twitch channel. What inspired you to start your Twitch channel to begin with?
I think all through high school, which is 2012, 2013, that's sort of when I was finishing high school, going into college there. I'd been playing games a whole heap, probably a good 2-3 years before that, with Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike Go were probably the biggest games back then. And I realized I'd met a whole heap of friends on a few servers that I played on. One of them was a Counter-Strike minigame sort of server, where there was a whole heap of sort of challenge maps, and there was a few people that were sort of a bit stuck on a certain part that I knew how to do. And so it went from me being able to do that, and then I'm asking, look, can you just show us how to do it, kind of thing. Like, if we saw it, we'd be able to do it. And I thought, well, I could upload a video, or I could look into this thing that I've suddenly heard about, Justin TV being going into Twitch. I thought, well, okay, let's just try that out. Surely it can't be too hard. And then realizing that a very old computer wasn't the best tool to get that happening.
Yeah.
But I made it happen. My first couple of streams were in 480p 24 frames a second, because that's literally the max I could get out of my computer. And playing CSGO while streaming put the game down to like 20 frames a second or something like that. So there was some upgrades very quickly after starting the first couple of streams. But yeah, I more got into it just because people were stuck on a certain map, a certain sort of part of a game, and I thought, well, I know how to do it. I might as well show other people how to do it.
Yeah.
And then it sort of slowly built on from there.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And over time you, I suppose, just grew that community, and now you have how many followers do you have now? It's like over 1,000.
It's past 1,500 now.
Yeah, far out. Okay. Yeah, but obviously, like, you don't do it like you're not a full-time streamer or anything like that. It's just whenever, it's kind of just like a casual kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the goals that I had this year was, or I've had for the last couple of years, was look, if I applied myself and I really pushed, then I'd love to get Twitch partner. And then, of course, 2020 hit, and I've had a few sort of professional changes in my job that sort of mean that I didn't have quite enough time as I'd like to.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of put on the back burner. I still love streaming. I still love the small sort of community that I've built up. But yeah, it's definitely not a full-time thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. So talking about like community and when you first started off, and that like server in CS:GO that you said that you wanted to stream to like show people how to do a certain thing. Any of those people from way back then, do you still keep in contact with? Like, were they good friends at all, or do they still pop into your streams? Do you know at all?
I still have a few people that I'll have a chat to. There's a Discord server that I'm part of that there's still quite a few of those OGs, I guess you could say. And there's still that friendship there that I could just jump in a Discord call with them and we could smash out a few games of anything and it would feel just like it's back in 2012, 2013.
Yep.
But yeah, there's probably about half a dozen of them that I could still, like, I could call up right now on Discord and they'd probably answer and want to play a game kind of thing. So there's still a few of them there.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's what you like to see in communities and stuff, is just, you know, those people that have been there since the start still sticking around and, you know, playing games and whatnot. And like you said, even if you haven't talked to them in like, you know, 6 months or a year, and you just message them and, you know, you just like, you know, you want to jump in for a game, they'll be like, hell yeah. And then it's just like as if like no time had passed at all. Like, I've definitely
yeah
definitely got those kind of friends as well, and it's good to you know, have that. Another question. Obviously 2020 is almost over. It is in November now, so the year has gone pretty fast in my opinion. But yeah, if you could time travel back to the start of the year, say like January 1st, and time travel back then, would you be able, like, would you change anything that you've done this year, or just like
that is,
I don't know.
That is a brilliant question. So if I had the opportunity to speak to myself on January 1st, would I say something? Would I do anything differently? Or
either talk to yourself or just go back in time and like have a clean slate and start all over again, I suppose.
That is definitely a very good question. I'd probably apply myself a bit more if I knew what was going to happen through the year. So there's definitely been some good things that have come from this year. Custom Creator Gear, the business that I started right in the middle of everything that was sort of happening. I'd probably start that a little earlier in the year rather than trying to avoid a whole international pandemic and start a business. But yeah, I'd probably say apply myself a little bit more, maybe manage my time a little bit better there. I think one of the big things that's happened this year for a lot of us is it has been such a curveball that it's all thrown us all completely off our schedules. And I'd probably say that if I was to get back on schedule a lot quicker, then I probably would have been a lot more productive this year. So if I did have a clean slate, then actually taking the time to get myself back on to my original schedule or so would probably be one of the better growth, the better areas of growth rather that I could have had this year. But saying that, there were quite a few things that have happened this year for the better that I think wouldn't have happened without the pandemic, as bad as it was. I feel like it's probably grown a lot of friendships that it wouldn't have necessarily prospered without a lot of that stuff happening in the background. And it's built a lot more opportunity as well, being able to having sort of a virtual conferencing platform as the norm means that video chatting is more normal.
Yeah.
So being able to jump on and anything from my cousin having a wedding in New South Wales a few months ago that I was able to jump on a video call for,
awesome.
that I wouldn't normally have been able to see. Or just playing games with a few people with with video cams on that we can see each other's expressions or so. It's been really great that we wouldn't have probably done normally.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Yeah. Like you said, even though this year has been pretty shitty, there's still that, connection, and like every company out there has had to adapt and change, whether that be, like you said, through video conferences or having delivery and all that kind of stuff now. So yeah, and I know that like I'm still applying for work at the moment, and they normally have us go into the what they call like job seeker places. So yeah, they normally go in there and then do interviews with us and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now in like 2020, obviously with the pandemic and stuff, you can't go in. So what they've been doing is a lot of like video chatting and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like it's like nothing that they would have thought about until something like this had actually happened. And I feel like it's probably better as well, because some people live out of town and they don't want to come in every single day to, do a course or something like that. So they're able to do it from home, do it while they're, I don't know, like driving around or whatever. And they're able to like listen in. And also with like schools and stuff, we were talking to Integrity in one of the other podcasts, and he said that they do video chat stuff as well. So like it's really just like a new way of looking at things. And with the internet and computers and all that kind of stuff that we have access to now, it's just so much more simple, I suppose, in my opinion. And I feel like it's probably a little bit better for some people.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll see what next year brings.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. It would have been either from two different things. It would have been either from yourself personally inviting me.
Why would I do that?
Which, scrolling up through our Discord DMs, it looks like you did send me a few invites to certain servers in July 2017.
2017? Jesus.
That might have been it, might not have been. Otherwise, it would have been from Darksider. I know he was in the community fairly early on. Being part of his community, I probably would have been invited from him there, or yourself. So,
yeah. No, that's fair enough. Do you... I know you were kind of a little bit active when it kind of first took off. And I know a lot of our members kind of similar, that they were in there for a bit, and they kind of just like drift in and out every so often, which is fine. But have you made any like connections through Groupup, like any new friends, or do you have people come in that you notice in the community, like come into your streams and whatnot?
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely quite a few people that if they've come into stream, that also go, oh, okay, I see that your name's sort of familiar, and I'll have like my other monitor open with Discord. I'll quickly click on Groupup and scroll down and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's where I've seen it before. Because there's normally so many people active there. And it's always one of the first places I'll check if, say, someone's reaching out for any sort of merchandise or apparel advice. I'll actually go to Groupup first and go, okay, are they in this massive server that we've all sort of been invited to because we've shown some form of interest or a healthy sort of personality per se. Normally that's sort of the bar. If they're in Groupup, then I know that they're some quality people kind of thing there. So
apart from Darksider.
Oh yeah, apart from Darksider, I don't just get rid of him.
Thinking about it.
No, but someone in particular would probably be say Zunicorn, for instance. I feel like I probably wouldn't have met them or gotten to know them a lot more without Groupup AU. Probably one of the bigger things was the design competition that that you did recently, and that's probably one of the major sort of points that I'd probably say grew our friendship a little bit more between Zuna and myself there. So we bumped into each other before at PAX. She stole one of my hats, kind of thing. But that was sort of one of the big things that Groupup facilitated. That Zuna and I wouldn't have been as good of friends as we are now if it wouldn't have been for, say, Groupup, for instance.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's pretty much what we're all about. Is just getting people to connect with one another in there, and it's good to see people doing that and making new friends along the way, which is really cool. Yeah, hopefully more people after this podcast jump into your streams or check out Custom Creator Gear, and if they're after merch, definitely hit him up, because we're going to be jumping into Custom Creator Gear real soon. Well, you're kind of just going off that topic of you bumping into Zuna at PAX. Let's talk about PAX, because it did happen this year.
Yes. Sadly, it didn't.
No. But I think it was for the good, because obviously Melbourne going through their second lockdown. Silly people.
It definitely wouldn't have been a good move for them, I feel. So.
No. Yeah, but it is what it is, and we'll see what comes next year. Things seem to be going a bit more swimmingly over there. I don't think they've had any more cases lately, which is pretty good. So, going back into PAX. In previous conventions, like, it doesn't have to be PAX, but I'm just gonna say PAX because that's the major one that we pretty much go to. So how do conventions and events like PAX Australia affect you personally, either like during it and after it?
I suppose PAX for me it's the event of the year for me as a creator. You're right in saying that it is the largest, and I feel like it's the largest for me because so many of my friends are there. And it's probably the one time a year that I will see the majority of the friends that I have made from streaming, from content creation. I suppose us specifically being in Tasmania, it is a little bit harder to meet up with other people from other states, because everything involves flying there, and it's normally a lot more expensive. Whereas, say, Melbourne and Sydney, for instance, if I lived in Melbourne and wanted to go to a Sydney meetup, well, I could drive there, for instance. It is a little bit easier to get to without the COVID-19 stuff, of course. But it is... for me, PAX would be the big event that, it happens every year. I know everyone's going to be there. It's my one chance to meet up with people. And I suppose it not happening this year is probably a massive dampener on, not only my professional sort of networking side, but also my personal sort of social life. Like that's sort of the 1 year that I've got pretty much a whole week I'll make of it to meet up with all these different people, go out for drinks, say hey, play some games with them together. And then suddenly that carpet's been put out underneath of me, and I sort of have no massive events to go to this year. So and it's like we were saying, it's good that we can video chat with people, but it really isn't the same as having a couple of beers together at one night or playing some actual games together and roughing each other up as we play, kind of thing.
No, I can definitely understand that, especially with the one I believe it was last year, 2019, and what we did to end off PAX was just we just went bowling, and we hired out a couple of lanes at Kingpin Bowling there, and it was probably the best night that I've had at PAX in a long time. I know that like everybody goes out on the piss and goes drinking out in the city, and I've done that a few times, but as a person that doesn't drink anymore, I don't really see like going out and doing that. It's like not very fun for me. Like I'll still go out just because my friends are going out, but doing something like the bowling was just, you know, it was a nice way to end off. It was nice and chill. You're just there hanging out with friends, having a talk. They can still have a drink, you know. And then we went to the arcade afterwards, and just like mucked around with like, you know, $50 each, and it was a good time, you know. You're just having that like connection where you can't really have that online, I suppose.
Yeah. It's those nights and those memories that's what I constantly hear about as well. Like the Groupup night with bowling. Like I've never seen so many Instagram stories of a bowling alley in one night before. And it's everyone was all having a laugh, joking around and everything. And I feel like that's probably the big thing about PAX is, well, yes, it's this massive expo where you can play all the different games, all the new titles, consoles and everything like that. It really comes down to those sort of hour or 2 hour events where you're really just chilling, hanging out with your friends and having some like proper fun. That really is what PAX is for a lot of people, and probably the big thing that I missed this year as well.
Yeah, for sure. So in conclusion, how would like not obviously not this year's but previous years, how would conventions like that affect you, like either mentally, as in like I don't know, emotions, I suppose, or if you've even like made new friends and stuff during them as well?
I suppose it being such a big event it is something that I'll always look forward to. So say last year or the years prior, if I've been having, say, a rough time and say work at like August, September, then I'll remind myself, look, stick through it another month and I've got a whole week with mates I can just relax, have some fun with and everything. So it's sort of that motivator that I'll have towards the end of the year. After PAX though, it's always the post-PAX blues for me. I've gone from being head down, working every minute that I've got there to a week break, and then suddenly I'm thrown back into the deep end of work and going, okay, I don't really have any other mates down here to have a beer with after work kind of thing. It's just sort of work again. So it is sort of that, you know, pre-PAX motivation to get stuff done, and definitely the post-PAX blues. So.
I feel like everybody definitely feels that PAX blues afterwards, and I think everybody was just feeling that all through this year because they just knew that PAX wasn't happening at all. I for a fact was, I mean, I was kind of on the edge. I was like, you know, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And a few of my friends were trying to organize accommodation and stuff when they announced the dates, and we're like, hell yeah, this might happen. And then it just didn't happen because Melbourne went into a second lockdown, and that, you know, that hope died, and you kind of just fall back into, well, damn, like, you know, what am I gonna do now until next PAX kind of thing. But
okay, so Custom Creator Gear, for people that haven't heard, is an Australian-based apparel company designed for Australian content creators. So I started it earlier in this year, mainly from the fact that I've heard so many bad things about, or bad experiences rather, about other sort of content providers. Anywhere from people that were paying 60 Australian dollars for a single mug to they got a shirt printed and it just wasn't high quality. It was just some cheap, thin garment. And I sort of realized, look, I want to do my own merch. Everyone knows me for my hats that I handed out last year that I went through all of that before going, what's the best company that I can go through? And there really wasn't one within Australia that was relatively affordable. I could have gotten these caps done in Australia, but I probably would have had to sell my car just to get 100 of them done, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I sort of started it because the previous year at PAX, doing my hats and beanies, I'd already figured out a lot of things about apparel and merchandise, what the good things were to look at, how to save on a lot of money. So pretty much at the start of the year, I found a company that I wanted to get my own merchandise done through. They're based in Melbourne, and I thought, well, if I want to get it done and I've done all this research and they're the best for me, then they're probably going to be the best printing provider for a lot of people. The only thing is they don't really deal with the general public directly. Like, they can't just be, say, a streamer in Melbourne walk into the shop and go, here's my design, can you print 50 of these? They just won't do it because you're not like a business. So that's sort of where I decided to start. Well, look, if I start a business, I can put my own merch on it and I can get these cheaper sort of shirts done. And then realize that instead of just having Domo apparel, I could have Darksider apparel, or I could have Hypershame apparel, or all these other sort of content creators. It didn't cost me any extra to have just my merch on it, or 100 different content creators merch on it.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where Custom Creator Gear started, was the idea of there's really no one in Australia that's doing this sort of stuff. Let's start it and see what happens. So and here we are 7 months later and it's going well.
Yeah, it's all about like that supply and demand kind of thing that, you know, all those, especially when Streamlabs came out with their merchandise line, and all the streamers were like, well, hell yeah, I'm just going to slap my emotes on there and blah, blah, blah. And not really thinking about people overseas that have to spend like $100 just for, you know, a shirt or whatever, because conversion rates, and I believe it's even gotten worse over COVID times now. So
Correct.
yeah, like I believe you've definitely done it at a very good time. And yeah, it's really good to see that, you know, you even though you kind of like started it up for yourself, that you've also used it to help support other ANZ creators. Like you said, you've got like Phazekins and all those kind of people on there as well, which is really good to see. And yeah, I'm sure that they're really enjoying it, and all the people that have been buying their merch have been enjoying the less expensive merchandise. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I've luckily haven't heard too many sort of bad things about CCG. There's been like, and it's the same with all the other providers. You get the odd shirt that, you know, they've printed and accidentally smudged and things like that. But that's, I've got a really good relationship with my print partners in Melbourne now. So things like that happen. They'll just express one out 2-3 days. Someone's got that new shirt as well. So whereas with a lot of these international providers, it's a nightmare to get a hold of someone from support. And then if they do send one out, then you're waiting another, well, anywhere up to 8 weeks with international freight at the moment. So
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous lately. But yeah, no, I think it's a really good thing what you've started up, and good initiative. And yeah, like it's just a lot more easy and convenient for Australian content creators to go through Custom Creator Gear now. And I know a lot of people have definitely sparked an interest, and it's just really good to see. Like from here, where are you gonna take Custom Creator Gear any further? Like, I don't know, like branch it off into something else, or is it just gonna be solely based in just like, you know, merchandise for streamers and you know, shit, I've lost track of where I was going with that. I understand
what you're saying. Yeah. I suppose, at the moment it is, the brand still is in its infancy. Like, it's only really 6-7 months old, and only 5.5 months of that, I've actually been selling other people's merchandise.
Yeah, okay.
So it's still, having come from retail sales, I understand like the dollar figures of it, how to keep a business afloat financially. The apparel and merchandise side, I'm still learning about greatly. It's really only hats and stuff that I did last year at PAX that I have experience with.
Yeah.
So I feel at the moment, once I've sort of gotten a solid foundation, that's when I can look at expanding into a lot of different areas, whether it's helping out, say, local businesses with their own sort of workwear, or whether it's I am in talks with an Australian company at the moment doing hoodies for them and things. So there are a few sort of places that I could definitely branch and venture out into. At the moment, it's definitely I need to solidify a lot more of a foundation so I can help the current people reaching out. At the moment, I have 495 emails in my CCG email account, and that's only from the last sort of 3 months. So I'm about 3 months behind in my my emails, because it is myself and 2 other people that sometimes help out. So once I've gotten that all sort of settled, absolutely, my imagination is really the limit with custom creator gear.
Yeah, for real. No, that's awesome, man. Hopefully it continues to grow and expand and go well for you. And it's just something that I was really interested in when you first talked to me. I think you came to me as one of like the first few people that you were branching out to start off with, and you wanted to talk to us about like Groupup having merch and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where we went off, and I talked to some of the moderators of Groupup, Darksider, Domotius, and that's where we were like, well, Domo's starting up this new custom creator gear. What can we do for it? Like, we don't really have any designs or anything to give to him. So that's where we came up with the idea of why don't we get the community involved, get them to submit some designs, because we have some artists and stuff in there. And we were like, well, we don't want to keep the money, so why don't we make it for charity as well? So that's kind of where that idea sparked from. And it was really good for you to help us with that. And it was a good way for you to get more interest as well in you starting up custom creator gear, which was pretty much a win-win for everybody, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's pretty good initiative, and hopefully it goes well for you, man, because it's a good thing that you're doing. And not many people as young as yourself kind of like start up their own small business or anything. We kind of, I feel like most of the people that I know don't really want to create their own business because it's a lot of work. So it's good to, see you get into it. Like you said, I believe you said that you started up when COVID was kind of like midway through or so. Did that really affect you at all? Like the custom creator gear, like starting up, or did it affect you personally at all as well?
It definitely affected me personally. In regards to custom creator gear, there was sort of three major things that it really affected. The first one was actually a positive, where my main source of income, we had to shut down for 2 weeks. There was an outbreak here of COVID-19 locally, so we decided as a store the best thing was to shut for 2 weeks. And so that really gave me an opportunity where I was still getting paid, and I could actually sit down and work out the fundamentals of custom creator gear. So there was, yes, it was unfortunate there was this pandemic running around me. I was still able to be safely isolated and actually figure out the core stuff of custom creator gear. So that was sort of a big help jump starting it. And then, of course, we launched into a lot of other states shutting down, a lot of other businesses and services shutting down. The worst of which was probably international freight. there's a couple of products that I do source internationally. And so one, paying for them, everyone takes US dollar over there. So the whole sort of exchange rate was completely wiped out. So suddenly something that I was looking at the start of March, by the end of March had risen 40%, for instance. And it was just, I couldn't do anything about it. Actually getting stock across from other sort of international countries into Australia, because there were so many limited flights. What a lot of people don't realize with international stuff is it's not just enough planes in the air. It's just these planes are so chock-a-block full because there's so little of them that clearing things through customs in Australia is also a massive bottleneck. If they're used to getting 30 planes in all at different intervals with minimal stuff on it, they can constantly just cycle it out. Now they have, it's gotten a lot better now, but there was a period where it was 3 or 4 planes into Melbourne Airport a day, all chockers, and then it would take them anywhere up to 2 weeks to get through that stuff. It was just massive delays all around, and that's luckily settled now, but it was a nightmare at the end. So and I suppose that loops back into like getting your merchandise through an international supplier is you're at the mercy of international freight. If they try to hand your shirt over to a plane that's going to Australia and you miss it by 2 minutes, well, sorry, you're waiting another 48 hours until another plane goes out. So other than that, everyone had delays with like Australia Post and everything, which is, you know, being out of Victoria was one of the highest lockdown or the highest sort of impacted states, I feel. And where most of my shirts are printed, being in Metro Melbourne, sort of was the impact there as well. So, which luckily has settled down, but it definitely impacted custom creator gear a bit. And I suppose personally was the stress from that as well. You know, someone's paid for an express shirt and now suddenly it's 2 weeks. Well, okay, we need to try and figure this out as quick as I can. So
oh Jesus, sounds like a nightmare. But no, I'm glad that you got through it okay, and custom creator gear has definitely come out on top, I believe, after it all. So it's good. Far out. I know postage and stuff, that was absolute nightmare, just especially here in Tasmania. Like, you're waiting like months just for, you know, something you ordered. Absolute pain in the ass, but what can you do? I guess it is what it is.
That's right. We all sort of had to stay safe, you know, including AusPost staff and including couriers and everything. So I can understand why there was the delay there. But it's definitely you've ordered something express that normally before COVID hit was, you know, Melbourne to Northwest Tasmania here was overnight. Now it's 3-4 days. So
far out. I'm glad that, I suppose, it probably didn't hit you as hard as what a lot of other companies that, you know, are like you said, probably relying on that international postage kind of thing. So it'd be interesting to know like how many companies were actually affected deeply by that. But hopefully it just gets better from here. So, surprise! This is the second part of the podcast, and as you can tell, we have a few special guests with us today. We have Zunicorn, we have Soviet Bobo, and we have Bones977. How you guys doing?
Yes. Pretty good.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, joining us once again is Domo, who is pretty much the main man of this episode's podcast. We were supposed to make this a huge surprise. Everybody was supposed to come in here at the end of last week, but somebody had some PC issues, so
I wonder who.
Yeah, Bobo.
I did nothing wrong.
So this is pretty much the biggest episode of the Groupup podcast. This is the most amount of members that we've had in at one point, so hopefully it goes well. In this second part of the podcast is pretty much talking about Groupup, our charity event, which we recently did, which was selling merch for a charity. And yeah, we're just going to go through the process of all that, how Zuna created the merch design, how we got it into custom creator gear with Domo, and then obviously you guys, Bobo and Bones, people who bought the merch as well. So yeah, that's pretty much why we got everybody in today. Unfortunately, some people who bought the merch weren't able to join this episode, but that's fine. Everybody has plans on the weekend, so yeah. So to start off, a bit of a backstory about the charity design that we had going on. Groupup decided to host a charity event, which we thought we may as well try and get like some merch out there. So we thought, well, what's the best way of getting merch out there for the community? And so what we thought is to put it out to the community. So we have some pretty cool designers and like art workers out there, and we thought, well, why not, give them a chance to create a design. We'll put it on merch, and then instead of us getting, or the designer getting the profits, we're going to give it away to a charity of the winner's choice. And so that's where Zunicorn comes in, because she was the winner of the merch design. So Zuna, if you want to talk a little bit about the merch design, and yeah, we'll just go from there.
I almost didn't enter the contest originally. I think I was just in the Groupup Discord, like chatting away, and I think it was you. I was maybe one other person. It was like, you should enter. You do art things, and I was like, sure. And then I think literally the next 3-4 hours, I was sitting down drawing. I really didn't know what to do at the begin with, but I had the image of like an astronaut on the moon with the flag.
Yep.
It was just stuck in my head. I was like, okay, I'm going to recreate that. And then I was thinking, because Groupup is a worldwide community, we have people from all over the world in it. So instead of the moon, I thought I would use the Earth. And then I took the animals from the Groupup logo. So like there's the elephant, there's the badger, the koala. Then the bird, I don't know what bird it is.
The eagle,
I think
yeah.
It's a hawk. The eagle, there you go. And then I used the same color palette, so it matched and it themed in well. And I just decided to put them on top of the world, like we're conquering the world.
Yeah.
Which, I am wearing, so you can see.
Yep. Yeah. So I believe everybody apart from everybody has merch at the moment. So yeah, I was about to say Domo doesn't have merch, but he has his cup, which he showed up just before. I'm also wearing the small logo one. So yeah, it's pretty cool that the community got behind it, and I think we ended up raising $60 in the end, which was pretty cool considering that.
Well done.
All the profits just went to charity. And obviously custom creator gear and the people who put the prints onto the t-shirts had to take out their cut, because obviously we can't do it for free. So yeah. But we're pretty happy with that, and a lot of people came in. I know Integrity, what's his name, Mazu? Yeah, Mazu, and I believe, was it Wheeltop you were saying, Zuna?
Wheeltop, yeah.
Yeah, also got some merch, which was really nice of them. And I'm not sure who else, but that's all I can get off the top of my head.
There are a couple people out there with mugs, because I actually purchased a few to give away on my stream. I thought it was a bit fun. So there's 2 mugs floating out there.
Well, that's really nice of you, yeah.
Somewhere, I don't remember who one of them.
I don't remember either. I was like, who? Oh no, it was
I think
Toki
Sada has one.
And Toki and Sada, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was the joke, the 2 old men get the coffee mugs.
So it was really cool to see a lot of people buying the design, and also there was a fair few people, I believe like 3 or 4 people that actually entered into the design competition. We just I believe got an awesome design in the end, and I believe Zuna, you were starting off your art at that time as well.
Yeah, so this was fairly early into me getting more heavily into the digital art side of things. So I've been doing like a whole bunch of tutorials to like learn some new techniques, especially because I was using a new program at this point. And I was really happy that I actually like got to use some of them in this design that we came up with. And so I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, and we're pretty happy with the end result, and we really do appreciate that you actually took the time out to create a design for us. But and we may as well touch base on what was the charity that you chose in the end.
So when I found out that I won, I hadn't really thought about a charity that I was going to choose. But I was going through some, and I knew I wanted one that was more aimed towards women. And when I came across the Share the Dignity charity, I really liked that one because it aims towards providing like feminine hygiene products and everything to like homeless women in Australia, which I felt was pretty important, especially like with how the year's going and how even more people are at danger of being homeless at this stage or even are.
Yeah,
so I was very happy.
Yeah, no, that was really nice, and hopefully they appreciate that money that we sent through to them. But after everybody, after the design, was made, we obviously had to get somebody to put it onto the shirts, and that's where Domotius came along, and fortunately. At pretty much, I think it was like a month or 2 months just before you actually started up Custom Creator Gear. So yeah, we really do appreciate that you just came along at the right time, pretty much.
It was right at the start of Custom Creator Gear. So when I was sort of looking for a lot more different designs and different clients and a whole heap of partners I could put on the site. It was so cool for you to reach out, Oz, with your plans behind sort of the design comp. Myself and my team were 100% towards it. I told my print partners over in Melbourne about it, and they loved the idea. So they were very quick to get out the Groupup shirt specifically. So that was really, really good for them to expedite anything for myself and the end sort of customers that bought the merchandise. Meant that it went out as soon as it could do, so that was really good from them as well.
Yeah, no, that's really nice of them. And yeah, like I said, it was just great timing that you like came on, because we were kind of like looking for like where we could get somewhere to distribute and make these designs, and like you obviously just came out with Custom Creator Gear, and I talked to the other mods in Groupup, Darksider and Demoski, and I think Darksider actually suggested talk to Domo, because he just launched Custom Creator Gear and is looking for people to put on Custom Creator Gear, and yeah, that's where it pretty much sparked off, and we went from there. And I really do appreciate that you and your printers and everybody else was able to help us and reach as much as what we did. I think it was like 2 or 3 months that the merch was up. Really, it's I don't know. It's just really cool to see people sending through photos and stuff of that. But
limited edition merch.
Yeah, it was limited edition merch pretty much, and I think it's like our second merch to come out, because we did have some before, but that was through like a different printing company that is over in America, which was a little bit more expensive. But it's really nice that Custom Creator Gear was able to help us out, and I believe that we are going to have some mouse pads coming out soon as well, I believe, because we sent through the design, and I'm not sure if Domo is gonna
It's on the list of things to do. So the next lot of mouse pads I'm planning on getting in are probably just after Christmas at this stage.
Yep.
If everything goes to plan. So but the design you sent through looks really cool. And I'm stoked to see how it's gonna turn out on a mouse pad as well. So.
So that design was made by one of the new staff members, Jimbo, who's actually pretty much working with me on like social medias and stuff at the moment, and he does a fair bit of the design work now as well. So yeah, I was pretty stoked to get that back from him, and I looked at it and I was like, hell yeah, like that, that needs to go on a mouse pad. So send it through to Domo, and yeah, hopefully it should be out in 2021 for you guys to purchase. So
that's gonna be sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, no, Domo, you do like amazing work with custom creator gear. You have a lot of creators on there, some of them from Groupup themselves, like Darksider and whatnot. So yeah, like it's a pretty awesome thing that you've got going on there, and we really do appreciate you for doing this for Groupup. And pretty much without you and custom creator gear and your printers, this charity event wouldn't have gone ahead, really. So yeah, thank you to Domo. Thank you.
It was really great, and I was so glad to hear that all the proceeds were going towards Share the Dignity as well. So rather than Groupup putting out just a design for their own sort of proceeds, it was really cool to have that charity sort of backing it as well. Yeah. And I'm keen to do more charity stuff with either Groupup or other groups in the future as well. So
yeah, no, definitely. So definitely get behind custom creator gear if you're looking for somewhere to put out your merch, or yeah, like Domo said, if you want to do like a charity event or whatever, it's a good opportunity to do that. But yeah, that leads us on to the next part, which is the people who actually bought the merch. Obviously everybody here bought the merch, but we brought in specifically Bones and Bobo to talk about just like buying the merch, what sparked you guys to actually get behind this charity event, and what would you suggest Groupup do for a future charity event next? Do you have any ideas at all? So we'll start off with Bobo.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't really have any ideas because I've actually got no clue. But I guess the reasoning behind the merch is it was Groupup and a fellow Groupup member created it, and I was like, this is good and I like it. So yeah, basically that is. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What about you, Buns?
Do you like it though?
Yeah, well, obviously.
He's got to go burn it after this.
Nah.
I can't even think right now. No, I actually really do like the merch. When I found out, like, when you guys were promoting it, saying like, "Oh, Luna won" and everything, and hearing about the charity, which is a charity, which is like such a good thing as well, because you don't really think of those kind of things, that especially for people and especially women who are homeless, you don't really think about that kind of stuff as well. Being like a male, that you don't think about that kind of thing, those sort of things. So you're like, oh wow, no, that's actually a really good cause. And I instantly went through when it went live. I instantly went straight for the website, which is really good, which is actually really nice website, to admit. I instantly was like, okay, oversized, gonna buy it as like how I normally buy band merch and everything, and I went with complete total opposite colors that I normally get. Like, I do not wear purple at all. I always wear straight black or red, and so I was like, I'll buy purple because of Groupup, of course. And then when the day it arrived, I got it at 7 a.m. So I was actually quite hyped. So the photo that you get, it's actually me half asleep. I'm like I haven't had a coffee. I just woke up. My mum just came into my room, threw the box in my face. I don't know if it was in a bag or a box, because I just randomly just get bang, and it's like, something's here for you. Went, opened it up, Groupup. Oh shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually really hyped to wear it, and I wore it a few times out in public, and people were like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's Groupup. Check them out. It's really cool." And all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like I love them. And also, I'm kind of a snob with t-shirts, really, like, especially like if it's not a certain material. But it's in my favorite material, which is the band merch material, which I just love. So they're super comfy. So yeah. In terms of charities, like, I always support creativity, so I'm always down for charities, but like, I don't know much about creativity charities or something like that. Even that kind of stuff. I always support that kind of thing, like, you know, kids getting into art, creativity, writing, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I always fully support all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Coming from a guy who does cosplaying. So
yeah, and that ties in with pretty much like Groupup is pretty much all about like creativity, content creators. We got like artists and cosplayers and like literally everything in there. So yeah, that's something that we could look into for the next charity, I reckon.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I always find that as a good thing as well to check in. Yeah.
No,
So
well, we appreciate everybody for buying the merch. Obviously, Zuna bought the merch because she created the merch.
If I didn't buy my own merch, like, that'd be a little sus, all right?
Probably.
I should have, like, because I'm a mod for Zuna. She was like, "Hey, check this out! You don't have to get anything." In the back of my mind, I was like, "Nah, she wants us to buy everything." It's like it's part of the thing when you sign up to be a mod for Zunicorn. Is to buy her merch, buy everything.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, buy everything.
No, it's awesome. So yeah, that's something that we can look into for our next charity event. Anyway, not sure what it's going to be, but I reckon 2021 will be our next charity event. I reckon. But yeah, to finish off this podcast, I just want to say a huge thank you to Zuna, Bobo, and Bones for coming in as special guests at the end of this podcast. Thank you very much, guys, and talking about the charity event and your design, Zuna. It was really nice. Thank you. And then a huge thank you to Domotius, obviously, who is the main person of this episode 10 of the Groupup podcast. Thank you very much, Domo, for coming in and talking a little bit about yourself and content creator gear. I don't know if you can hear my dogs going off in the background. Apologies. But thank you, Domo, for coming in. Really do appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, no, it was really, really great to be here, Oz. Thanks again for having me. And for the wonderful surprise it was to suddenly seeing Bobo and Bones jump in. Wow!
You were so surprised, weren't you? So
you can see the excitement right there.
Yeah. Oh, I had no idea. It was really great to be here. It's something that I've seen you do with a whole heap of other creators and people on the podcast. So. I'm more than happy to jump in, especially spread the word about all the good things that Groupup's doing, as well as how custom creator gear can hopefully be a part of that in the future as well.
Sorry, something popped up on my screen. Apologies. We were super excited to have you on this episode of the podcast, and obviously we wanted to spread the word about custom creator gear because what you do is really awesome with other content creators, obviously promoting their merch, and especially more so in Australia, obviously, which is really nice. And everything else that you do for the community, and obviously your streaming, and just talking about yourself was really interesting, and hopefully more people can get behind you and support you and custom creator gear as well. That's pretty much it for us on this episode of the Groupup podcast. If you haven't already, be sure to check out Domotius on his social medias. You probably already know who Zuna, Bones, and Bobo are from previous podcasts. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining me on episode 10. Obviously this is probably our biggest episode so far, we really do appreciate it. That's it for us on this podcast. Do you guys have any last words to end us off?
It was great being here, Oz. Thanks for inviting, especially me and Bones back, considering we made you talk like, what was it, 2 hours last time?
2 hours?
Bold move.
Yeah. Bravery right there to get both of us in the same room again.
That was a pleasure.
Since I've been here. Been a while since I've been here.
It has been, yes. No, I appreciate you for coming back, Bobo. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Domo? Any last words?
pretty much what I've said before. It was really good just to jump on, have a bit of friendly banter, have a chat, talk about what's happening behind the scenes with Groupup, with custom creator gear and everything. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, then I'm sure Oz will have all my social links somewhere. I'm happy to talk to anyone about merch, streaming, anything like that as well. So
awesome. Once again, thank you everybody for being on this podcast. Thank you everybody who's listening and watching. And that is it for us on episode 10 of the Groupup podcast. Goodbye. Thank you.